the Jharkhand students' protest has entered day 14 with 6 aspirants continuing their hunger strike over alleged recruitment exam irregularities. Despite Chief Minister Hemant Soren saying his government is open to dialogue, protesters claim they have not received any formal invitation for talks. Student unions ISA and AISF have announced a march to the assembly even as prohibitory orders remain in force around the Vidhan Sabha. The protesters are demanding cancellation of the 14 JPSC civil services exam, an independent probe by the CBI or retired High Court judges, and major reforms in the JPSC and the JSSC. The issue has also reached the assembly with opposition MLAs raising slogans during the monsoon session. Let's talk about this with our guest. Joining us on the show is Rashmi Sawant, human rights activist. Utsav Agarwal, social media influencer, is with us on the program as well. And Shekhar Vijayan, political analyst, joins us on the program as well. Shekhar, I'll begin with you. Well, we saw what happened in Jantar Mantar, Shekhar, and we know why that happened. Now, the issues pertaining to these demands by the students in Jharkhand are absolutely, they're troubling in nature, if I can use this word for the lack of a better word. They allege that a lot of ghotala happens, a lot of money is taken to give jobs to aspirants who haven't even appeared for exams. So the problem in Jharkhand may be related to education, but it is dissimilar in many ways, to the grouse that students have throughout the country. Now, this only points to one thing, Shekhar, that it's just not the leakage of examinations that's the problem. It's corruption. It is, bypassing the normal channels for getting jobs. That is also becoming a huge agenda in states like Jharkhand and in other parts of the country as well.
Absolutely, Vineet, thank you for having me over, and good evening to all my fellow panelists, especially Utsav and Rashmi ji. Vineet, this is not just a Jharkhand story, it's India's talent story. If when young people begin to doubt the fairness of recruitment exams, the country doesn't just lose jobs. I think it loses trust, and trust is such a big deficit right now. India cannot aspire to be a global, knowledge hub or a knowledge economy if merit itself is such a big question. I think that's a nation cannot ask its youth to compete, and the competition is not fair also here. I think the protest, this is forgetting all the political ramifications around this. The point of the matter is these are youth who are standing in protest here, and I think no political party should score brownie points from this in terms of what they can get out of it. At the end of the day, the systems have failed the students. The systems have failed the students. The institutions which represent all of us have failed them. I think that's more important. Like you had mentioned in your opening address, I think what's important is where is the trust, where is the institution, where is the confidence which we have in this. And it's similar to the protest which we had in Jantar Mantar, but the whole issue here really is how can this gaps be closed? How can they have more confidence now? You cannot have a situation where students keep going on a protest to get themselves being heard. That is just not a stage of a country which wants to be super developed, right? I think we need to focus on how do we get this, how are they heard without going into a protest? How can we give confidence to them? That is important. How can we also ensure that these gaps are being filled where there should be they shouldn't have a lack of trust in institutions. They should not be questioning these things because this is so important. Education is so important. Institutions are so important. Systems are so important. And it's not that India doesn't have the wherewithal for it. India has got the technology. India has got the artificial intelligence. India has got the acumen for it. And why it's happening always? That's the bigger problem.
How can we also ensure that?
All right. Let me also bring in Rashmi Sawant into this conversation. Rashmi, you've been observing what's been happening in India. You've had your own share of struggles and troubles when it comes to life as a student and somebody who's, trying to enhance their particular knowledge in an area of expertise. What do you make of what's happening here, and what kind of reforms should have been initiated a long time ago for students to not come out on the streets?
Well, firstly, good evening, everybody, and thank you so much for having a debate on such an important topic. As a student myself who's suffered paper leaks back in 2016, when I took my, chemistry board exams for 12th grade, I think I really do empathize, sympathize, and relate to what's going on right now. But I think I genuinely believe that paper leaks are rarely accidental, administrative lapses. They are market failures sustained by criminal incentives. As long as that ecosystem remains profitable, replacing one government with another merely changes the administrators presiding over the same structural vulnerability. The questions we should be asking is that we should demand a simultaneous all India crackdown on the organized paper leak economy. Why is there, comparatively little sustained attention on coaching institution cartels that profit from perpetual examination anxiety? Why is there insufficient scrutiny of networks connecting corrupt officials, recruitment agencies, printers, transport handlers, cyber intermediaries, and brokers who together constitute an organized criminal ecosystem? I think these are things that we should be asking. Because right now I feel that there is definitely a political economy of student protests that we are seeing come to fruition. Of course, the basic fundamental idea that there needs to be fairness in examination is the right demand. But if you look at the protests that happened in Jantar Mantar also, beyond a point, it was hijacked by political actors who just wanted to revive their political careers, and it can be clearly seen in the way that they're showing double standards when it comes to supporting the protests happening in Jharkhand. So it's very unfortunate that such a serious issue is being swept under the carpet. I mean, Dharmendra Pradhan himself, when he was a student, he protested against the Odisha government and got his head, got his head cracked open during those protests. He protested against examination leak. Then why, despite being education minister, he was not able to fix the system? That is because we are not breaking the cartel which is leading to consistent and consequent examination paper leaks. We are turning a blind eye to that particular ecosystem. Nobody is motivated enough to go after that. Nobody is even demanding that. End of the day, I mean, I didn't see any of the one of the four demands to be that exactly that which can break this criminal ecosystem apart. So I think replacing one government after the other, I mean, it just keeps careers afloat of different politicians who come in and out of power, and it gives a new career to the so-called activists who've come out on the ground. So I definitely feel like end of the day it's the students who suffer because they are losing time. End of the day, each cycle lost is lost time. It's a lot of anxiety, it's a lot of financial burden for parents who have to continuously sustain their kids within coaching centers until the fair and examination results are not out. And I think it is very tragic. The tragedy is that the incentives are also asymmetric. Political actors often gain visibility, students lose time, and time, unlike examination, cannot be reconducted. So I wish that our public discourse was more consistent. When paper leaks occurred in 2016 in Congress Karnataka, and I wrote those exams, students did deserve justice. Students do deserve justice today, in the post NEET situation as well. And when recruitment scams emerge in Jharkhand, they also deserve justice.